Hey folks, Pastor Hans here. This week on the Daily Dose, our theme is Honest Advent. We're talking this week about this period of time that leads us up to Christmas. It's a time we all love. We all love our pumpkin spice lattes. We love going to Fleet Farm with our kids, and there's the Toyland. We go to Target, we go to Walmart, and there's that Lego holiday display or that holiday display of Doritos. Whatever it is, we love this time of year. But there's something about that commercialized version of Christmas, I think, that leaves us a little wanting. It leaves sort of this sanitized taste in our mouth. It all seems so commercialized. And so this week, we want to talk about the real story. The real Christmas story. Think about the real Christmas story for a second. It was a roller coaster of a story. It was this wild ride. It involved pregnancy. It involved family dispute. It involved a road trip that couldn't have been comfortable. It involved God coming down into this earth that was broken and was in the midst of chaos. You see, this week we're talking about an honest Advent, an honest look at the Christmas story. And if you come to think about it, isn't this the year for an honest conversation? Think about the year that we've had. It has been messy. It has been a roller coaster. It has been hard. It's been a year filled with tough decisions. It's sort of been like a long road trip, and we don't know when it's going to end. And so we're talking about an honest Advent this week. You see, folks, when I think of the Christmas story, I hear the story as it's told in the book of Matthew. It starts with marital strife. If you have heard Matthew's version before, it goes like this. This is how the birth of Jesus, the Messiah, came about. His mother Mary was pledged to be married to Joseph, but before they came together, she was found to be pregnant through the Holy Spirit. Now get this, because Joseph, her husband, was faithful to the law and yet did not want to expose her to public disgrace, he had in mind to divorce her quietly. The story starts with marital strife. They aren't even married, and Joseph says, I've had enough. The story is about a God who came into this world, not to some commercialized, artificial, sort of sanitized world. It was a world where the long arm of Rome ruled with an iron fist. It was a world where God chose to come into this world through pregnancy. And those of you who have been pregnant, you know pregnancy is not a neat, clean, sanitized thing. Whenever I think of the Christmas story, I think of a story my sister tells, and it's a little gross, but when she was pregnant, she was also in graduate school, and she was running to the college where she was taking courses. She was going as fast as she can because she was late. She was in her car, and that's when she got sick. She grabbed a 7-Eleven cup in the car, and she vomited in that cup. And while she was doing that, her car drove off the road. It hit garbage cans, but she just kept on going. You see, pregnancy, it's not a pretty thing. Here's what I want to wonder with you about today. You see, when I think about Mary being pregnant, I think about this Christmas story, the real Christmas story. Here's what I want to wonder with you today. I think it takes some uneasiness. It takes some uneasiness in order for us to grow. Now you think about Mary, and you think about how growth stretches us, just like Mary was stretched. It takes growth forces us to expand our thinking in some ways. You know this. When you've started a new job, there's a lot of stretching, there's a lot of expanding, there's a lot of uneasiness. Parenting, man, if you're a parent, you've had some sleepless nights. Marriage stretches us. And if we think about this last year, if there's something we all know, this last year has stretched us. There's been more than a few nights of uneasiness over this last year, from distance learning to working from home. I mean, there's been all this uneasiness. If you own a business, you know uneasiness this year. We've had to learn new routines. We've had to learn a new way of life during these COVID days. It's been hard. There's been a lot of stretching and expanding. Maybe when you think about how you're going to spend the holidays this year socially or with your family, there's a lot of uneasiness. And here's what I want to wonder. If it's in those moments where we feel uneasy, it's in those moments where we feel like we're being stretched, where we're being expanded, that growth actually happens. Because think about all the things we've done this last year, all the ways that we've changed our routines, we've done it. Well, we've done it for the same reason that women go through pregnancy, I think. If I were to ask my wife when she was pregnant with our 2 kids, why in the world would you ever do this again? She would say out of love, right? She'd point to our kids and she'd go, of course I'd do this again. I do it out of love. Why are we doing all we've been doing over this last year? Being stretched, being expanded, doing some of the things we do, bending over backwards for our coworkers, bending over backwards for our families, contorting ourselves, being stretched and expanded. Why would we do all of this? Well, isn't it for the same reason? Out of love. Love for our neighbors, love for our family, love for our coworkers. We do it all out of love. And as Christian people, we do it all out of love, well, because we have a God who first loved us. A God who loved us so much that this God sent his own Son into this world in a really hard, really messy way, in the midst of family strife, in the midst of a world that was being torn apart. You see, God did it out of love for people like you and for people like me. Folks, thanks for tuning in today. A couple of things for you here at Calvary as we get ready for Christmas. Invite you to head on out to a website we've created to help you plan your Christmas at home this year. It's called ChristmasWithCalvary.com. ChristmasWithCalvary.com. Check that out. And this Friday night, we want to invite you to join us online for a very special Christmas night of worship. You can join us at 6:15 Friday night right here on Facebook or on YouTube. Folks, have a great night.
Angels from the realms of glory, wing your flight o'er all the earth. Ye who sang creation's story, now proclaim Messiah's birth. Come and worship, come and worship, come and worship, worship Christ the newborn King. Shepherds in the fields abiding, watching o'er your flocks by night. God with men is now residing, yonder shines the infant light. Come and worship, come and worship, come Saints before the altar bending, watching long in hope and fear.